Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I've got your very first gameplay and overview straight from the Seek and Destroy dev server for the premium Leopard 2A4M can. This is a currently rank 7 battle rating 11.3 medium/main battle tank in the German Ground Forces tech tree. And one thing before we do anything here, it's important to note that this is the dev server, so anything and everything can change up to and even through the release of this update on the live server. Now that being said, this is pretty much like an upgraded 2A4, if that makes any sense. As one could imagine, 2A4M would make sense that it's an upgraded version, but it's kind of a little bit weird in how it's been upgraded. So as you can see, this thing pretty much, I'll just go ahead and remove the camo so you guys can see a little bit better here. This thing looks like a 2A6, right? It looks pretty standard like a 2A6, but it still has some of the boxiness of a 2A4. So this does have improved armor compared to a 2A4, which is really nice. It does have a better shell as well that I will be showing you in a second. But interestingly, in the dev blog, it did mention that it has very similar armor to the 2A7V. Now, at least in the dev server, not quite. It's shaped similarly, but it's not quite as good as what we find here on the 2A7V. I'm not entirely sure where they were getting that from, but it's not quite as good in some areas, but in other areas, like right here, it's got very similar armor to the PSO. So it's a little bit weird how it's laid out, but it was also said on the dev stream that the 2A4M might not have complete armor modeling done yet, which is another thing. Like I said, dev server, anything and everything is subject to change. Now let's go ahead and look at this thing. So it weighs 61.8 tons, 1500 horsepower, 40 degrees of turret traverse, -9 to 20, 6-second reload, all pretty good numbers. Now, if you look at this, you get the KEW, which is almost 600 millimeters of armor pen, which is very nice at this BR. It's not the best, but for a top tier or near top tier premium, that's not bad. That's actually pretty damn good. That places this amongst the best insofar as near top tier premiums are concerned. Now, it says that it has night vision, or thermals rather, but the thing is, it's only Gen 1 thermals, so it kind of sucks in that regard, and for the most part, everything else here is standard. But you do see mine protection and slat armor. This weighs around 4,000 kilograms in total, so by removing it, you should theoretically have a pretty good boost to your mobility. And as you can see, like I said, with the PSO, you have these really nice and thick composite screens on the side, so there's that. Now, let's go ahead and just look at this armor here. Now, the extra mine armor would be right here on the bottom, which is, I guess some people might like it, but for my sake, let's go ahead and remove it. And as you can see, I mean, does it really look all too much different? I suppose a little bit, but not all too much. Yeah. I mean, functionally, it's not going to do much to change the gameplay for the better by having it, so I'll go ahead and remove it, and then go ahead and remove the slat armor, and this is what you have. 57.9 tons. So pretty much, again, this is a 2A4, but with more armor. So it is a bit better, and of course, with that KEW shell, which puts it to be a much more effective cannon overall. So as I said, we're going to get into a few matches here, see what we could do. Unfortunately, this does not have any optional camouflages yet. Like I said, this vehicle is not 100% complete yet, but it does seem most of the way there. So I said, let's get into a few matches, test this thing out on the dev server. So here we are with the Leopard 2A4M can, and as I said before, Gen 1 thermals. I was not mistaken. This thing is just, it has ugly thermals, which is a real shame because in the dev blog, it said that it had advanced imaging, thermal imaging, but clearly does not, or at least that was taken subjectively, because in my world, advanced thermal imaging would indicate at least Gen 2, which, again, this clearly does not have it. Now, insofar as all that extra armor is concerned, really it's going to be most effective versus things like Heat FS. Versus standard shells, I really don't see, or like APF SDS, solid shot, I really don't see it being all too useful. Now, does that mean that it won't be able to save you? No, not at all. It will still be able to actually save you from a few hits, especially if they're angled or lower powered, or from autocannons. But otherwise, it's probably going to be best versus things like Heat FS, Heat, standard HE shells, as well as rocket shell, like rocket fire from helicopters. That will actually help out versus those quite a bit. Now, what you guys may or may not know is that a lot of vehicles that I will be facing, as you can see, pretty much all of them, are bots, which means that they are World War II, typically. Now, one thing that you also, I keep saying one thing that you should know, when it comes to mobility of this, I can tell you right off the top of my head, right off the bat, this is actually not too bad. What the hell happened there? Wow. I don't know what happened there. But the mobility on this vehicle is okay. You're looking at, give or take, around the same mobility as a standard 2A4. A little bit worse, but not all too much worse. I kind of expected him to have moved up a little bit more than he did. But we were hit, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and put that thermal on. And we have the kill. Not too bad. Again, that's more or less what you'd expect. The KEW, that's actually seen on vehicles all the way down to, I think it's 9.7 BR, the M60 AMBT, which is obviously at that BR, it's fantastic, but even at this high of a BR, it's really nice. And I'm going to go ahead and shut off the whatchamacallit, because thermals at this, like, Gen 1 thermals are really, really, really bad for identifying targets at range. I was hoping for a double kill there. Unfortunately, did not get it. Okay, we have a kill. That's always fun. It looks like my buddy in the Leopard 2K is also getting kills. So, that said, I really don't know how much more we can kind of show off here. Unfortunately, it just seems like, you know, their players got all the way to our side of the map, and we got all the way to their side of the map without ever seeing each other. And thus, here we have it where I have 6 kills versus World War II vehicles, and they have 6 in total. So, again, kind of sucks playing the dev server, but at least, again, you can get some sense of what's going on with these vehicles. And like I said, at least without all the extra armor, this thing seems pretty decent when it comes to mobility. Not fantastic, but definitely workable. I mean, it's a Leopard through and through, and after all, this isn't as, you know, heavy as an M1 Abrams, while still having, in my opinion, similar-ish, if not arguably better armor, especially with the 2A4M can variant. So that said, we're going to go ahead and jump over to another match. I assume that this is just going to be another few minutes of me just killing World War II and maybe slight post-World War II vehicles. So, that withstanding, let's get into another match, hopefully in a smaller map. For better or worse, Gaijin has reworked this map. So I don't know if you can see like the mini-map, but it is a bit different there. The coloration is a little bit different too, so it's not just the mini-map and also the colors, but there are some differences throughout kind of the middle of the map as well. So different cover points and whatnot that would probably deserve a bit more of a video, but here we have it here. Now, with that said, you might be wondering to yourself, well, Tankenstein, what does the whatchamacallit, commander site look like? And so here it is, and there's only night vision. That's right, you only get night vision on this thing with the commander site, as you probably saw in the initial overview. Now, let's go ahead and just see what we could do. It seems as though almost all the action's over there. We are fighting some actual players, but not many, of course. And I was right. Bringing along his M551 to a top-tier dev server match befuddles me, but hey, man, to each their own. But when it comes down to it, probably the two biggest limitations here on the dev server are simply going to be the fact that, one, it's incomplete. Well, I guess three big differences here. One, that's incomplete. Two, that there just aren't that many players. And three, it's the fact that you get put on the same maps over and over and over again, unfortunately. So we do actually have an enemy there. Got the engine track. Ooh, and we blew up his... Ooh, is he going to be able to shoot me? He can shoot me if he wanted. But I guess he didn't really want to. And we also have a BMP-2M over there? Perhaps? We had a BMP-2. Okay. Not too bad. So the KEW holds true, and we are fighting actual enemies here, actual players. And look at that! Even the bots use that same stupid technique that you see so many people using with Russian tanks. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Okay, let's see if I'm gonna die here. I might. And I do via the Aria DM53. It looks like to the lower glacis plate. And it is. So, that said, I mean, I'll see if we can go fight someone, go back over there and get some more fighting happening, but not entirely sure. But it is important to note that this vehicle, at least from what I could see, does not have the spall liners that the 2A7 has. So this lacks spall liners, as if that was not apparent when I just died there. But like I said also, oh, time to blow up. You just blew up. That's funny. But like I said also, it's just kind of limited. Like, you have at least a first look on the dev server, but that's really it. It's just kind of like a look and not too much more. And we have ourselves a kill versus a Centurion. 120. But like I said, I mean, ultimately, like, Gen 1 thermals, they're such a mess. But this is kind of what the old center of this map looked like. So it does look a bit different. We do have an enemy over here, it looks like. Here we have it. And we have the Aria killed. I hate it, like, when that happens, though, when you killed somebody who killed you just prior, and you get them through something like that. I kind of wish it was, like, head-to-head, but unfortunately not. So, we do have an M163 over here. Those are always fun to kill. Some of my favorite vehicles to kill. And then, after that, I assume it's pretty much going to be the end of this gameplay, but let's see. Oh, there he is. Okie dokie. And I hate how that happens. Like, I didn't... Ooh. And I think I'm about to die here. Oh, yes, I am. So, that said, thanks so much for watching. If you don't mind, please consider liking... Oh, look at this! Actually, the composite armor is holding up pretty decently. This is a decent enough show of it. But I'm assuming I'm dead. So thanks so much for watching. If you don't mind, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing. I greatly appreciate all of your support. Let me know if there are any vehicles that you want me to preview here on the dev server. Like I said, dev server does have its limitations, but insofar as its limitations are concerned, it's still a pretty decent first look. So either way, thanks again. See you all on the other side. That actually held up pretty well for to side shots from an autocannon. Take care, everyone.